Hello, welcome back to Blender CC Live Coding. In this episode, I want to give you kind of like a breakdown process. It's kind of like a little bit hairy process, but I'll explain everything anyway. So currently, you have this like visual node tree, and you might already recognize this. This is ComfyUI server running. And what's actually happening is I'm trying to remix this dance motion from this is from pexel.com, so this is like free to use, free to download from Voxels. So I downloaded this video is like 60 frame per second or something, I think, but the animation looks like a slow motion. So what I did was to bring this into Blender video sequence editor, make it a little bit faster, turn it into 166 frames, and I'm trying to turn this into something else. Like this is like generative AI, right? Whatever you call it, scintigraphy, or diffusion. We try to diffuse it and using text prompting. Okay, this is the prompt: cyborg woman, etc., etc. This is the positive prompts. This is the negative prompts. This is the model, and it's gonna try to put this conditioning through pre-processing. In this case, I have this OpenPose video. OpenPose. This is some kind of model that reads a video and then turn it into this pose, and we can use this as conditioning with ControlNet. So yes, just bear in mind the whole thing is like sounds really complicated, but once you understand the whole thing is interesting actually. So the video of the woman dancing, in this case also I'm using Canny pre-processing, and we get this result. This is a Canny result that's more or less like outlines, and then I'm using ControlNet Canny, and then I'm applying ControlNet and combine the conditioning and then sample it with seed set to fix, step set to 4. I can make this a little bit higher to get better quality image using LCM sampler because it's a little bit faster. My latent space image is 512 by 512, and this is the result. This is the preview and it's saved image. So currently it's running as a batch. Okay, 166 is not the fastest, but the batch is running anyway. And ComfyUI, as you might already know, or maybe you don't know, ComfyUI doesn't have incremental ways to sequentially load image and render it like a batch, unlike WebUI by Automatic 1111. So the batch thing is handled. In this case, I'm using Blender actually to modify this ComfyUI workflow and then just do like quick batch. As a result, anyway, it's doing something in the background. So we have I'm doing this abstracting at the moment. So it's like 1 minute per generations. I don't mind this being abstract. I think generative AI can be really abstract and surreal, while at the same time, if you diffuse it differently, you're gonna get something different. Like, okay, in this case, like a cyber robot doing dancing, and the seed is, in this case, is changing every frame, which is sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't want this type of flickering and random on every frames. I actually don't mind it. I think it's very much, it looks like generative AI, and it should look like generative AI. But if you want to diffuse a character that's consistent on every frames, that's another thing. If you check on Twitter X recently, actually just this month, check for densepose. this is a different method. It's Twitter densepose animation. You will find some result. Magic animate, yeah, in this case, okay, toy XYZ has been experimenting with anime type, but anyhow, it's using the densepose. You can diffuse an animations, like, okay, this is video densepose, another example of densepose dancing character. So you have reference person dancing, and you have this is the densepose pre-processing, and then from here you can actually diffuse it as something else. You can apply it into a character like this, and yeah, this is the maybe your character, and you want to diffuse this into densepose, and you get the result. In this case, it's kind of weird because this is anime character and you get this, but anyhow, the densepose animation itself is kind of nice. This is something that your brain can process and then turn it into something else. So in this case, see, it's really abstract and just a character rotating, right? But you can, in your brain, in your mind, you can sort of use this abstract, and then you diffuse your drawings or imaginations, or you can do it automatically using AI anyway at some point. The one I'm doing is really the one that's already few months old. So this is a few months old setup that's involving Canny and OpenPose. Okay, let me break this down a little bit, even a little bit further. Okay, how did I have this ComfyUI working? So the one I'm using is actually using this Pinocchio. So there's a Pinocchio AI browser, and I'm installing everything using Pinocchio, and it's actually really easy to set up. It's like one-click setup. So Pinocchio AI browser is really good app, and then it's gonna do the setup for you, and it's gonna run the server of ComfyUI, and so you can build your own like workflow. You can save it and then share it. The nice thing about ComfyUI is that you can save as API format. Once you save it as API format, you can actually open it like this. Open the JSON and then modify this using Python, or in my case, I'm using Blender. So the whole thing can be very streamlined, even though it's like a complicated noodles node 3 here. It's like, wow, what's going on? There's a code behind it, and there's something running, right? And then the nice thing about having Blender is that you can kind of combine everything. So this is the JSON of the ComfyUI workflow, and simply by looking at the number of the nodes and then the parameters, so this is number 3, 5, 6, 7, see, let's say I want to make modifications to the positive prom or the negative prom. I can do it inside Blender and then just execute it as a batch. And for example, in this case, what I'm using here, this load video path, which is like a custom nodes by someone else, and I believe the custom nodes is inside Pinocchio API ComfyUI custom node. This is something that you can install from GitHub. This is ComfyUI video helper suite, and yeah, you can also modify this yourself. But anyway, if you don't want to do that, you just use the node. If you don't have the nodes, you can always go to the ComfyUI manager and then install the missing custom nodes, things like that. It's pretty cool. So these visual nodes can be edited and modified inside Blender, and then from Blender you can execute this into ComfyUI server and then do the batch in this case. So, okay, so this is the ComfyUI address, and this is the JSON files, and I've shown you this a few times, and this is just a simple different example. Instead of changing the prompt on every generations, what I did was to load this image node loader and then increment it for I in range 166. It's gonna increment the frame each time. I actually changed the prompt inside Blender here, and then after I do that, I just queue the prompt back. So we have like 166 job batch running in ComfyUI, and while it's doing that, of course, we can dig inside the ComfyUI and check the output. Right, this is the output. This is only 512 by 512, and then I just intentionally make it abstract looking, because if we turn it into character, sometimes the character looks a little bit generic, but if it's really abstract, probably your brain, or maybe your you can kind of interpret this yourself, right? This is really abstract, and then you can, okay, this is like AI generated, and then you know that this was based on that video that we use as a reference image. And then yeah, it's not just like a filter, because at any time you can change the prompt, or you can use your own model, train model with the character, and you can apply the character. It's not there yet, but it's kind of like ongoing process. And yeah, so the model that I'm using is this never-ending dream checkpoint safe tensors. So that's the model, and the model is not using any LoRa. If you use LoRa train model, then the character can be the character will be consistent, right? So if you, okay, if I just gonna show you a little bit more, okay, I will save this. I can, at any time, I can just rerun this, and it's gonna execute everything. If I want to show you, so the video, the dancing video originally, it looks like this, right? It's really high quality, 2160. If you make your own dance video, then you own the motions and the character dancing. So in Blender, to make it 512 by 512, I usually set it up like this. So file, new, video editing. It's very easy, basics. And then here, Shift A, get the video or the movie, download it. Where's the video? This is the video. Put the video here. Just load it. It's loading it as a little bit slow motion, right? Make this video 2.5 times faster. So this is what we have. Make sure the start and end frames correct. And then because this is 512 and 512, selecting this video stripes, we can S and scale it, just reposition it. This is for, yeah, we just want to have the character dancing. Sometimes you also want to get rid of the background. You can do that on a Mac easily. So this is video, dance, output, set, render, animation. So it's very fast. And so we're gonna have output. Oh, it's actually a video. We don't want this to be a video. We want this to be PNG. So PNG, render animations, and we get our character animations. So I think it's really, the focus is for character dancing or performing at some sort. Character dancing is all about full body motions. Sometimes you do care about the hands and fingers as well, and the facial expression will be the last. But so if you are studying AI animations, character, pose, gesture, that's everything have to be captured or wants to be captured and then reuse for different character or some sort of thing. That's the idea anyway. Um, the clothings and everything can be modified using AI, generative AI. Yeah, and then the character as well. But for now, anyway, so we have these frames that's being output. You can select all and then remove the background if you want to have clean character without the background. This is also something that can be performed on the iPhone and iPad in real time. On the Mac OS, it takes a bit of time, but it's not too bad. You're gonna get a result with background remove. Now, yeah, it's kind of it's better if you have green screen, but this is better. This is better than nothing. And then if you want to have this character as OpenPose character or like a dense pose, you need to pre-process it using Pinocchio. Once again, Pinocchio have a lot of things. Okay, video OpenPose. There's also dense pose, but Magic Animate Mini and this is only working if you have NVIDIA GPU. Doesn't work on Mac OS at the moment, but who knows? You can run this online if your computer is not strong enough. This one, convert your video into dense pose and use it with Magic Animate. Use it. I want to be able to run this on the Mac OS. I don't think that's possible, but with the Open, you can convert the dancing character into OpenPose anyway. It doesn't have fingers and doesn't have facial animations in this case, so that's okay. That's in this case just use Canny and then just output something. Yeah, okay, it's installing. This is one-click install. Sometimes fail. If it's fail, you contact the Pinocchio developer. Contact him, and let's see if we can fix it. Let's see what we have so far. We have our abstract character with abstract looking background. Yeah, I think it's pretty sweet. Character, performing, and background. Once you, in theory, right, that's all what you need. Of course, there's the camera motions and composition, and if you are actually doing, you can do this in 3D or stop motion or hand drawn animations or whatever type of animations, but the whole idea is to capture performance, right, and then reuse it to retell stories or to make like entertainment, like a visual entertainment. So yeah, the AI is very, if not anything, like the AI actually help you to use computer better. In the past, it's not as visual and as easy as now. Nowadays, if you have any issues, you can always ask Bard or ChatGPT. What is OpenPose and densepose? How can I use it for animation, right? OpenPose, densepose. The Bard will answer it. OpenPose estimate the 2D pose of human body. Densepose actually predicted 3D surface on human body. If character is rotating, it can predict it a little bit better. capture motion data, retarget motion data, enhance animation detail. Yeah, these are all the applications. Very useful, very good. And yeah, and then you can ask further, how can I use it on my machine? Is there example on GitHub? Densepose is related to Facebook or Meta, but this is all the links related to it and how you can install it on your computer. In this case, I just use Pinocchio AI browser for installations on the desktop. Yeah, so it's just making things very streamlined, and even if you don't know how to code, if you follow the process and then look at the GitHub, look at people's examples, you can actually learn about computing much better. You don't know coding, you don't need to know codings. You will learn it along the ways. And then, of course, in the end, it's if you just, you can prompt it, but you want to make character dancing, cyberpunk global, inside abandoned place. Like, in theory, you can dance anywhere, capture your performance of you dancing, and then turn it into this, right? This is what we want. This is exactly what we want. The character can be anything. Someone can create it. An artist can create it, and you can say, he can say, that's my character or my design. Do you want to use my character, right? Or you can make your own character, somewhat, or you can find it from Sketchfab. The idea is to capture motions, performance, and then reapply it into your story. That's all there is to it. It's like, that's reality or stage. World is a stage. All the world's stage by William Shakespeare. Yeah, I don't know. All the world is stage, and then you want to apply performance into it. This is what we want to have. So currently we have this. Of course, no, this is like the low resolutions. I can increase the sample. Maybe it's not perfect yet, but it's just not too bad. You get the idea, the concepts. You can already use something like Move One AI, single camera or multiple camera, and then capture it and then turn it into 3D animations. Yeah. Or in the future, it's gonna be real time as well. Once it's real time, the AI part is just gonna be like a filter. The filter that you can prompt it, and it's gonna be something really weird. I think in 10 years, if this keeps going in 5-10 years, you can prompt anything and apply it into dance performance that you also prompted. But it's kind of like when you're drawing something and make it into a 3D model and then you animate it. It feels like you create it, like the human part of creations is there. If you prompt it, you're acting more like a director. Let's say, okay, I like this character, just make it animating and turn it into 3D movies that you can share with people, right? That's kind of like crazy, but but it's kind of like a very godlike ability. But think of yourself like a director and you want to create something. If you can gather people or just use AI, using AI is kind of like a conceptual, right? You can tell AI, hey, do this, make a movie. You can tell it to make a movie even if you don't have any ideas, right? This is the crazy part, is that give me ideas of short film about character robot that's learning to dance. Short film about character robots learning to dance. Right. Okay. Okay. The robot name is Grok and character is short. Make the screenplay. Make it into screenplay. Do you need a story or just a character dancing? If it's a character dancing, then you just need to have a visual of the character. This is the screenplay. We don't need screenplay. Describe the character posture and visualize as prompt. This is the AI generating something. Okay, short, standing, dancing, curious. Yeah. In the future, probably we can just visualize it, make 100 variations. Yeah, and then being AI is the fastest and giving us nice ideas about that's probably what I want to create. This is more or less you have ideas about dancing robot character anyways. If you want to customize the character, then you need to train it or further works on it. But anyhow, that's the whole process. ComfyUI is what I really like, and the Blender can kind of control ComfyUI. That's what I like as well. The process kind of hairy and complicated, but it's very visual and clear as well at the same time. Once you understand, it's actually pretty easy, and you can easily customize. Whenever there's a new one coming, like a new technique, ComfyUI is usually the fastest. So that's pretty much it, what I want to talk about. We're gonna revisit this in the future. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.